To start, the very first Mario game I ever played was Super Mario All-Stars. This would begin to spark my interest in video games as a whole, as I began to love this game in a way that I hadn't with other games I may have played. That is, if it was my turn to play it. Super Mario All-Stars was a compilation game that featured the original Super Mario Bros. Trilogy, but all of them getting the 16-bit upgrade with more detailed graphics, remastered soundtracks, and a system that allowed you to save your progress. Huh, wasn't that handy? Playing these games were such a blast as a kid. I thought Mario was an awesome hero, I liked the music, I liked the enemies, I liked the power-ups that you were given, and I thought King Bowser was quite the intimidating villain. I also thought that getting the Superstar was probably the best thing ever. Super Mario Bros. Games are always known for having the right amount of challenge for the player as they progress through the stages, and when you finally reach the end of the level, it was the most satisfying feeling just sliding down that flagpole and hearing that fanfare. Oh man, it was like the game was giving you a fist bump. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have stories about the original Super Mario Bros. Game, as it was referenced in a lot of movies and sitcoms. Funnily enough, I happen to be one of the very few people who grew up playing the 16-bit version of Super Mario Bros., and I believe this version to be far more superior than its 8-bit counterpart. The level designs had a different background to make them all stand out, and it really felt like you were adventuring through the Mushroom Kingdom. I was having so much fun with these games, I wanted to see what the other Mario games played like. I don't remember getting very far in Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, or Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan, probably because I kept getting utterly wrecked in that game. The other Super Mario Bros. 2 game, or Doki Doki Panic in Japan, which had you playing as 4 different characters, that game was also fun. I liked going through the wacky levels, picking up and throwing things, as well as utilizing the abilities of Luigi's high jumps, Peach's floating dress, and Toad's fast speed and lifting. And then we come over to Super Mario Bros. 3, and oh man, this is the one I spent the most time on as a kid. If my older sister and I weren't playing Donkey Kong Country or Mrs. Pac-Man, we were playing Super Mario Bros. 3 on the All-Stars pack. I was Mario, and she was Luigi. It was a co-op experience I cherished very much. This is still one of my favorite 2D Mario games of all time because there's just so much to enjoy. The All-Stars version of this game especially because you can save your progress. I very much loved being Raccoon Mario as I could fly really high and skip over most parts of a level. And sometimes, by flying high enough, I can find some hidden goods. Other powers like the Frog Suit make underwater stages a little easier, the Hammer Brothers suit to not only attack but protect yourself with, and the upgraded version of Raccoon Mario known as the Tanuki suit. I used to think that this was a carbon copy of the Raccoon Leaf, but then I realized years later that you can turn into an invincible statue by simultaneously pressing down and the dash button, kind of like a little ground pound. The bonus levels were fun little distractions, and being able to choose your own path to victory was also very enjoyable. Also another thing, you can choose to skip ahead a few worlds if you use the hidden warp whistles. And while some of you might find that cheating, my argument is that, well, don't you want to finish the game? I mean, isn't that how most of us felt using the Warp Zone in the first Super Mario Bros.? And don't you want to have fun with it? Sometimes it's fun to pull things like this, and you can finish the game in a very short time. The game itself is enormous as is, so you don't have to go through all of it if you don't want to. Heck, the original 8-bit version I don't think really had a save system, so of course you kinda had to get through the game somehow. Still, I can come back to this game any day. Now I also vaguely remember playing Super Mario World, but I didn't own it until later, and I'll get to that game along the way. However, I did have access to other Mario titles for the Super Nintendo, like Mario Paint. This game was pretty sweet, not only allowing the player to let their creative mind run wild, but also color in already drawn pictures. And let's not forget about that Gnat Attack game where you're swatting flies and avoiding getting hit. Of course you had to have the SNES mouse peripheral to even play the game, and it was a struggle to keep the trackball at the bottom clean too. And that thing got so dusty. I also happen to own a game called Mario's Early Years Fun with Numbers, and Yeah, don't ever show your kids this game. Don't show your kids any of those weird Mario educational games. This was a weird trip, let me tell you. Even as a kid, I was baffled about what this game was and what it was trying to teach me.
Find the 3.
I like your choice.
You found the 3.
Okay, moving on! Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I definitely couldn't go wrong with this game, as I was playing through the game entirely as Yoshi, the cute and lovable green dinosaur that I always fantasized about riding. How long it took me to beat this game, I'll never know. This game can be pretty hard despite its cutesy appearance. Now the unfortunate part is I missed out on the N64 era, which the only people that had access to that console were my uncles, aunts, and cousins. Whenever I would go visit them, I was always overjoyed at the sight of all of my cousins enjoying games like Mario Party and Mario Tennis. 4-player gameplay was a sight to behold back then. And heck, I seem to recall just messing around in Super Mario 64's hub world, which I was utterly amazed on how I was able to freely move around. I didn't even think that there was more to the game, I didn't even think to enter Princess Peach's castle. I was just messing around in that little world and swimming and jumping, all that. But hey, the time I got to play it was pretty good while it lasted. I even remember experiencing Mario Kart 64 for the first time, at a McDonald's playground of all things. And you can never go wrong with Mario Kart. This was one of those games where instead of a regular looking racetrack, you were racing in all sorts of locations that aren't made for racing in real life. A farmland, a beach, a train track riddled desert, a turnpike, a snowland, a haunted boardwalk, and even a freaking rainbow! Not only was it so much fun to race in these kinds of vast environments, but the items you were given to screw up your opponents were also satisfying to use. That is, if you're the one getting hit by things like lightning or banana peels. The battle mode was also kind of fun, as you and your friends were pit against each other in a round or squared arena, and you had to pop their balloons by hitting them with items. The last one standing was the winner. And oh boy, here comes my favorite part of all. Let's go over to one of my favorite pastimes, the Nintendo GameCube. This console was my life during my elementary school years. It all started when my family and I went to Walmart to go grocery shopping, and I just so happened to come across the electronics section, where the Nintendo GameCube was there for display, with a playable demo for Super Mario Sunshine. I'm not gonna lie guys, had I not asked my parents if I could play on that GameCube that day, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. I was probably 5 or 6 years old at the time, and I remember my dad showing up to the house one day with a brand new Nintendo GameCube. And when he finished hooking it up to the TV, he then tells me, "Try this, you might like it." And lo and behold, I was playing the same game I tried at Walmart, Super Mario Sunshine. You guys have no idea how happy I was back in the day. This was my very first console that I ever owned myself, and I no longer had to wait for my turn when my sisters played the Super Nintendo. Hallelujah! I remember just being fascinated by all the things Mario could do in this game, and I was starting to understand Mario more. He's an energetic, happy-go-lucky man with a cheerful demeanor no matter what dangers he's in. Wahoo! He's also a brave hero. Like a knight, he will do everything in his power to save Princess Peach and return her to her kingdom. I think this was also the first time I ever heard Mario's voice. Yeah, sure, he was kind of mute, and the only things that came out of his mouth were whooping, hi-yas, and woohoos, but I didn't care, because I was happy along with him. I never questioned why in Super Mario Sunshine Mario uses a water shooting tool, why everything on Isle Delfino looked different, or why Bowser Jr. claims Peach is his mother even though they have no relation. And I never questioned why Mario is incarcerated and sentenced to having to clean up the entirety of Isle Delfino, because in the end, when you actually play the game, he still feels like Mario. He jumped high. He could use a wide variety of skills that come in handy many of times when platforming. What more can you ask for? So no lie, as a kid, I remember consulting the game's instruction booklet, yeah, remember those, and figuring out all kinds of crazy and wonderful things Mario could do, like wall jumping, triple jumping, somersault jumps, spin jumps, spinning sprays, water bursts, etc. I had a lot of fun with Flood especially, from just hovering in the air to reach further distances, to launching super high with the rocket nozzle, and maybe speeding your way through with the turbo nozzle. It took me a while to figure out some levels, when I wasn't struggling with the platforming stages where Flood was taken away from you, or if I wasn't cleaning up some goop in the other sections of the level, I was having fun running and jumping around the hub area, Delfino Plaza. As a kid, this was like a playground for me. I always enjoyed going on top of houses, going underground. When I couldn't clearly understand the objectives of a level, I just played around and discovered secrets. I love how all of these levels have scope. Climbing the Tower of Bianco Hills to go fight Petey Piranha was an experience unlike any other. Oh, and Pinna Park was always one of my favorite levels. And not just because it resembled a theme park, but I loved the happy and bouncy nature the level had as a whole. When you got a chance to ride the Ferris wheel and you stood on that platform at the very top, you felt on top of the world! That was such a pretty level and I just had fun with it. I couldn't really criticize or even nitpick level design back then, so I was amazed by levels like Noki Bay and Sirena Beach. Heck, I was happy enough to see those 8-bit Mario backgrounds in some of the secret obstacle courses. I thought it was funny whenever I would mess up and fall down the bottomless pit. I couldn't really think to, rage or scream or even throw my controller. I was just kind of caught in the moment. It's also cool how Yoshi was in this game. Yeah, it was only an occasional thing, but Yoshi was just as fun as he was in Super Mario World. He can gulp enemies, flutter jump, use juice to clear certain obstacles Mario can't, and while it's kind of dumb that water immediately destroys Yoshi, I think it's a nice addition regardless. One thing I've always admired about Super Mario Sunshine is how interconnected the world feels. Like in both Delfino Plaza and Gelato Beach, you can see Rico Harbor from far away. And in almost every level, you can see Pinna Park in the distance. Mario Sunshine just brings back the best of memories, and still to this day, it's my favorite game of all time. I still enjoy Sunshine a lot more than Mario 64, blasphemy I know, but I just love the entirety of this game no matter how much backlash it gets or no matter how many people call it a hot mess. Okay, but the pachinko level still sucks, and yeah, we don't talk about that abomination. As time went by, the GameCube added even more to their library, and more Mario games were released for that system. The next game that I got after Super Mario Sunshine was Mario Party 4. This was my first Mario Party game ever, and it took me a while to learn how to even win in the game, especially with the boards and all. But hey, I understood the minigames and they were the most fun part to me. A lot of people may argue that the boards are what make Mario Party what it is, but I don't take this game too seriously. I loved the wacky events that would happen on the boards, the minigames were fun to play, I loved all the content this game had to offer. But dang, you have to play this game more than you think if you want to complete it. Like seriously, there's all these birthday presents that you have to unlock, and I just can't bring myself to even come back and play through it all. And then we go over to Luigi's Mansion. This was a really weird game for me as a kid, because the ghost catching mechanics had somewhat of a steep learning curve. If I recall correctly, I had to have my older sisters or even my cousins help me learn the controls. The game did kind of scare me a bit to start. I mean, it does kind of take place on a scary theme, but it didn't take me too long for me to overcome the fears. If anything, anyone who plays this game for the first time shares Luigi's fear. You and Luigi are both terrified to venture through a haunted mansion to go rescue your brother. This game was Luigi's first foray into the spotlight, and it was cool getting to know Luigi more thanks to this game, and after playing Luigi's Mansion, I was starting to like him as much as Mario. Even though he doesn't get much time in the spotlight, I still think he deserves more love. Believe it or not, Luigi's Mansion is one of my favorite games to 100% complete. I loved all the secrets this game had to offer, as well as getting to that one true ending where your mansion is all complete. The next game I would play starring Mario is Super Smash Bros. Melee. This game, I loved it so much. This was one mind-blowing experience that I will always appreciate. And just so you guys know, I play this game for fun, and I cannot for the life of me even try to do the competitive stuff because, well... Ow, my hands! Ah yes, the good old days of inviting friends and cousins over to my house so we can play some Super Smash Bros. Just picking our characters and then duking it out in many arenas where it's anything goes, and those were fun times. We also had fun using items like the Pokeballs, where random Pokemon would pop out and assist whoever threw it. I know that not everybody likes items, but when you're playing just to have a good time, these items were fun to use, like the beam swords and the home run bats. And hell, even those explosives. I owe this game everything because it inspired me to expand my gaming horizon. If it wasn't for Super Smash Bros., I would never have known about things like Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Kirby, Pokemon, Star Fox, or even F-Zero. However, Because of that fact alone, I did kind of fall out of Mario for a short while. And to be fair, yeah, sometimes everyone has to realize that there's so much more fun games out there that isn't just from the same franchise. It's always cool to expand your horizon. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you don't. I remember playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker as my first Zelda game and not getting into it much at a young age. I couldn't even figure out how to get my sword back at the Forsaken Fortress, and I just put this game down for a while. Yeah, the game also kind of scared me, but other than Wind Waker, I was enjoying a lot more GameCube games like Star Fox Adventures and Assault, Pikmin, WarioWare, F-Zero GX, Metroid Prime, and most importantly, I had also been introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog at the time, and I was digging it. And looking at these two franchises together, sure they had their similarities as platformers, but the main reason I liked Sonic was because of how different he was from Mario. Which is weird to say, considering Sonic's sole purpose was to rival that of the famous Mario. And don't get me wrong, I like Sonic. I always have. But I've had more of a history with Mario than Sonic, so in the end, I'm a Mario fan at the core. If anything, I want to say that I love them both equally. I don't think it's fair to compare the two franchises anymore. Sure, they rivaled each other in the 90s, but those days are long over. I'll even say that Sonic's games are just about as fun as Mario's games. Well, most of them, that is. But hey, you're watching this video and you notice that the main focus is Mario, not Sonic. A year or two later, I get to play two more games that I got after that hiatus from playing Mario all the time. Mario Kart Double Dash and Mario Party 6. Holy cow! These games brought my family together! Mostly my older sister, cousins, and sometimes my dad. I still love this game. I love the 2-character and 1-car mechanic, the racetracks were memorable, there were 2 extra battle modes, and if I recall correctly, this was the first game I ever 100% completed. From the Mirror Cups to the All-Cup Tours, everything. It was super fun unlocking everything just by winning races and earning gold trophies in the Grand Prix. Mario Party 6 was a great time too, and I remember always wanting to play this game with my sister. With the day and night mechanics spicing things up with both the boards and the minigames, it was a great time. I enjoyed this game a lot more than Mario Party 4. I also had the microphone peripheral that came with this game. That was pretty neat. It had its moments where it was just irresponsive at times, but I recall it working very well back in the day. You had the Star Bank to unlock lots of things in-game, as well as extra content that made this the definitive Mario Party experience. The next year, I would get a Mario RPG game that I'm sure a lot of you know and love, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Now this game was one that I played religiously as soon as I got it. Just like with Super Mario Sunshine, I played the demo of this at some supermarket and then I ended up getting the game for either Christmas or my birthday. As excellent as this game is, you have to understand that the RPG battle system can feel like culture shock if you haven't played a game like this, like Final Fantasy. Having to learn about action commands, guarding, and even crowd pleasing, it does take some time to master at a very young age. I remember not being able to get past that blooper boss before Petal Meadows, and also recall being stuck in Schwank Fortress for a while because I just could not figure out how to deal with those pesky fuzzy enemies. Jeez, it was embarrassing! But over time, I learned the timing of the guards, the super guards, and I even learned more and more of how to pull out action commands in not only a successful way, but also a stylish way. I remember it took me years to play through and finish the game, but still, it holds up for having a great story, memorable and unique characters with distinct personalities, and even some interesting and sometimes sad backstories behind those characters. I had also owned a Game Boy Advance at the time, so there was another RPG game that I spent a lot of time on, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. One reason to love this game even more is watching Mario and Luigi dance to the battle music. You just want to dance with them. And if I wasn't playing Mario and Luigi, I was probably playing Pokemon or Super Mario Advance. More specifically, Super Mario Advance 2, which was my first time playing Super Mario World. I don't remember playing the GBA version much, but jumping ahead really quick, eventually I was able to get the original SNES cartridge of Super Mario World and I played that game non-stop later on. Okay, let's talk about that game really quick. Super Mario World is fantastic. I loved abusing the heck out of the Cape Feather and Yoshi combo to find secret passages and use the Star Road to skip over large parts of the game. I loved the introduction of Yoshi, and he's just so fun to take with you on the adventure. and it was fun to gulp up enemies and use Koopa shells to do things like breathe fire, grow wings, or stomp the ground. The ghost houses, though tough to solve, were satisfying to get through. They were like solving puzzles. I thought the overworld and level themes were awesome. I loved the cape feather as much as the raccoon. And I loved finding both the main goal and the secret goal. And words cannot express how satisfying it was to not only beat Bowser at the end, but also make it through the special world that acknowledged you as a super player. It's that good. It's also worth mentioning that I still have yet to play Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars from start to finish. I played it before, just never got to own it, but hey, I got it on Wii Virtual Console now. So yeah, I heard that game's pretty good. Then somewhere along the road, I get Mario Superstar Baseball, and I remember my dad and I spending countless hours on this game. I didn't even know everything about baseball as a kid, but I loved the wacky nature of the baseball fields, the special moves that certain characters had, and even the minigames that were a nice distraction from the main game. Here's where things get a little weird. After being introduced to another franchise that was new to me as a kid, Mega Man, I had kind of fallen out of video games for a while. After having played the Mega Man X collection, I had just started middle school and went through the biggest culture shock of my life. I missed out on the DS era, I missed out on the Wii era, and I didn't get to experience other great games that may have come out around that time. Maybe I didn't completely miss out, but I didn't have any interest in the more mature games everyone was playing, like Call of Duty, Halo, Guitar Hero, or Grand Theft Auto. As far as Nintendo games at the time, I missed out on Mario Kart Wii, I missed out on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I didn't even experience Super Mario Galaxy. See, I had no interest in playing the Nintendo Wii back then because I was a bit uncomfortable with the idea of motion controls at first glance. I just couldn't picture myself even playing that new system because it felt so weird to me. But lo and behold, Christmas of 2009, I happened to get a Nintendo Wii. While I still spent some more time playing the GameCube, whatever opportunity that I had to play the Wii was kind of nice. The Wii was all the rage when I was in middle school. Like, people were into games like Mario Kart and Smash. It was cool because I got to meet people who liked the same games as me. And yes, I had next to no problem inviting new friends over to my house to play the Wii or GameCube depending on what we were in the mood for. I had a swell time getting my family and friends together to play games like Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and even New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which had just come out on that exact year. With games like these, I was starting to remember what I liked about Mario. It was all coming back to me. New Super Mario Bros. Wii was a 2.5D adventure that played exactly like the classic titles I knew and loved back when I was 5 years old. Except everything kind of pops out. But we also got new power-ups, moves from the 3D games, the return of the Koopalings, Bowser Jr., and a co-op system where you can play with 4 players at once. Just be careful though. 2 or 3 players is fine, but 4 players is absolute chaos! Especially since there are some levels I feel were not built with co-op play in mind. But hey, a couple of people at school talked about this game, and then sometime during 2010 I got to experience an entirely new 3D Mario game, Super Mario Galaxy 2. This was another game I wasn't sure that I was gonna like, but I ended up loving. I had gotten the same vibes from Super Mario Sunshine when playing this game. Mario could do just about the same moves, except for FLUDD-related stuff. He could long jump, triple jump, backward somersault jump, the works. The spin move was fun to use, although a little tiring on the hands. Collecting starbits was a fun little gimmick, and launching Mario all over space was quite the sight to behold. And also, Yoshi returns for another chance at being in 3D, and Yoshi played so much better here than he did in Sunshine. The levels of Super Mario Galaxy 2 were top-notch. It had some catchy and calming music, and letting you know now, playing this game with a friend is highly recommended. As for the first Super Mario Galaxy, well, I wouldn't experience that game until 2 years later, and I loved every second of it. Mario Galaxy really was ahead of its time, and I feel bad for missing out. It had some amazing visuals, excellent controls, and a soundtrack that still holds up as one of the best in the series. And a great story revolving around the new character introduced into the series, Princess Rosalina. One of few characters in the Mario franchises that has a backstory, rather than constantly being kidnapped or just being somewhat loud and obnoxious. Going over to the years 2010 to 2011, I was in 8th grade and happened to meet a new group of friends who all owned the beloved handheld system known as the Nintendo DS. And I got to join in on the fun a little bit. It wasn't until Christmas 2010 when I would get the newest version of the Nintendo DS at the time, the DSi. The DSi XL to be specific. On that beloved handheld, I enjoyed games like Mario Kart DS, Kirby Superstar Ultra, and the very first New Super Mario Bros. Game. Because of this system alone, my love for gaming reignited. And I can safely say that I was a Mario fan again, but this time, much more than ever. There were a fair amount of classmates of mine who also loved and enjoyed these games, and they taught me a lot of things I didn't think I would know, like how to access the secrets in the New Super Mario Bros. Games. Then I got into even more titles like Mario Party DS and Super Mario 64 DS. Now this game was an experience that I don't regret even for 1 second. People consider this to be inferior to the original Mario 64, but I feel that it's a more definitive way to play. Sure, the controls are weird to get used to, and you can't pull speedrun exploits like the original, not to mention the removal of analog control, but with more added levels, 3 more playable characters, extra stars and levels added, and a multiplayer mode that was a nice distraction, and even fun little stylus-based minigames to enjoy, you're bound to enjoy this game to the fullest. I remember getting my family into these minigames and we'd compete with each other to try to beat our high scores. New Super Mario Bros. DS also had these minigames, but there were a few exclusive ones like Whack-A-Monty. I still have yet to beat my older sister's high score, damn it, I still can't today! Another game I enjoyed very much was Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story on the DS. And that game was just as fun as Superstar Saga, if not better. You got to understand Bowser more as a character, and he became a little bit more comic relief than an actual villain. And oh man, I remember a lot of things about this game. I spent a lot of time either at home or on the go enjoying these games. When I wasn't trying to catch up with schoolwork or just super busy with projects and stuff, I was more than likely enjoying my DS before and after school, or during lunch, or even during the ride home from school. I'll even admit that I was slightly obsessed. It was awesome to be able to love Mario games after those 2-3 years of stopping caring about video games for some reason. I mean, sure, this was around the time where the console wars were going on, and it was mainly the PS3 going at it with the Xbox 360, but I was one of those guys who was kind of in the middle, just enjoying Nintendo games. But then we get into high school in 2011, and I was fortunate enough to have a little group of friends who liked the same things I liked. Eventually, we would all upgrade from the DS to the Nintendo 3DS, which had also came out on 2011. More info on that later. And my high school buddies and I, we would play a lot of games together, and just from hanging with them, I got introduced to more things like YouTube. Now, Wi-Fi wasn't really a thing yet during my youth, but around the 2010s, that's when I believe the internet became so much easier to access. At least from what I think. And when I wasn't using the internet to research for school projects and such, I was more than likely catching what was hot on YouTube. Thanks to a really good friend of mine, I was introduced to channels like Smosh, Tomska, Niga Higa, and Chugga Conroy. Oh man, I love this guy! His Let's Play videos were not only entertaining, but also very informative and detailed about the game he was playing. This dude is the best! He's the one who inspired me and my pals to do YouTube in the first place. What's even cooler was that he was playing Mario games, including that of my favorite, Super Mario Sunshine. And better yet, I felt this feeling in my heart that I've never felt before. Wow, you really can be a full-grown adult and still love to play these types of games. I remember back in my school days, I was sort of shamed for liking things like Mario, Sonic, Pokemon, etc. But that didn't stop me and my friends from playing these games one bit. I still remember back in 2012 when me and my high school pals decided to randomly record ourselves playing a video game by pointing a video camera at my TV screen, and we failed miserably. But then we come back to watch the video, and it doesn't matter if we failed miserably. We had a great time watching it, and we had a good laugh. Right then and there, we decided to become a collaborative Let's Play group and post our videos to YouTube. We started by doing a Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. Wii, and as time went by and we got together every month, I eventually decided to create my own YouTube channel in 2013, what you're viewing right now. Sorry to break the fourth wall. And I picked Super Mario Galaxy as my first Let's Play. Just letting you know now, this is probably the last time you'll ever see my old crappy videos where I just used a Kodak video camera to record my Let's Plays. I was kind of broke at the time and I couldn't get a capture card, as it was very difficult to even buy one in that day and age. But hey, everyone's gotta start somewhere, right? YouTube channel aside, 2012 to 2014 was the true pinnacle of enjoying video games, especially Mario games. The 3DS and Wii U were wonderful times for me and my friends, and I remember playing the heck out of Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 after my 15th birthday back in 2012. Around that time, I started pre-ordering new Mario games that would come out, including that of New Super Mario Bros. 2, Paper Mario Sticker Star, Mario and Luigi Dream Team, Luigis Mansion 2, and even the Wii U console, which I wasn't sure about, but I got it anyways. And I was getting games such as Nintendo Land and New Super Mario Bros. U, and eventually Super Mario 3D World. The game started to become more complex, the series grew more and more, and I found myself joining Facebook groups who liked these sort of games too. I even found myself to be part of this local Nintendo 3DS organization known as Street Pass Arizona. We would meet somewhere around the Phoenix area and bring our 3DSs to not only make excellent use of the Street Pass feature, but enjoy video games together as well. You know, maybe that's what it is. If there's anything I've always appreciated about Mario games is that they bring people together. I'll touch up on that later. I know I've rambled on about my favorite memories from Mario games. There's so much more Mario games that I could talk about, like Mario Kart 8, Super Mario Maker, and most recently Super Mario Odyssey. I'll get to those games soon, I promise. Maybe not now, but I do plan on Let's Playing it sometime in the future. But I'm sure we can all agree that these are all great games that bring people together, no matter how old or young they may be. So that about does it for my history with the series, but now onto the most important question. Why do we like Mario? And what makes him so great? Like, I'm just a guy in his early to mid-20s and I'm still the same die-hard Mario fan I've been since my school days. Thank you guys for watching, let me know what your favorite Mario game is in the comments, and I'd be glad to hear your stories about the series. This has been Why I Like Mario, Part 1. DJ Alex14, signing off for now. See ya!